everyone, and welcome back to day 6 of CIE. It is Saturday, and we are basically almost done, which is kind of surprising. Um, so today is our Casting 103 panel, and then right after we'll have our Esport Canada and Esport Canada post-secondary panel. We'll also be running the COD finals during that time on CIE 2, and then we'll wrap up the day with our Valorant top 8 and semifinals. That'll be running on both CIE main channel, so this channel, and then the second channel, CIE 2. So without further ado, we will get back to our highly requested Casting 103 panel. Today with me, I have 3 amazing casters, and you've seen and heard some of them throughout the week. But yeah, so without further ado, I will get them all to introduce themselves. And then the general question this year is, what is your favorite game? Oh, we'll start with Zach. Sorry, I forgot.
You've only been running panels how long again?
All right.
I'm
Let's talk
sorry.
about that icebreaker though.
Um,
All right. All right. Let's keep on topic. Okay. So, hello. My name is
Sir.
Zach, aka Spafflez, as you guys might know. I've been doing this casting thing for a couple months now, and primarily I focus on Overwatch, but I also do other games like League of Legends, Rainbow Six Siege, and Valorant. Right now, I've been mostly enjoying playing Honkai Star Rail. My wife, my husband. So it's been a good vibe. If any of you are in the know, you know. But yeah, I'll pass it on to you guys next.
We'll go next, Grandpa.
no. Youngest first. Youngest first. It's okay. Go ahead.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much. Hello, everyone. Other than that, BM, my name is Zlion. Well, my game tag is Zlion, sorry. And my real name is Zilin Chen. You can call me Z if you would like. I've been doing casting since October, so around the same time as you, Zach, I believe. And I primarily focus on Valorant, but I've also done Overwatch 2 as well as CS. And I have a little experience as well as I am comfortable also casting for Apex if need be. But yeah, my favorite game currently, honestly, it seems like so like this is like so basic, but like yeah, I just really like Valorant right now. And like it's kind of on brand because I'm a Valorant caster, and that's why like like sometimes like when I'm casting I sound like hella nerdy, but like no, yeah, my favorite game is Valorant.
So basic. So
Yeah.
unoriginal over there.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. All right. So lastly, I guess my name is Daniel, also go by Orbital. I've been on a couple other panels already. But I'm a caster, freelance caster, producer, whatever you want to say. I've been casting for about 9 years. I started back in about 2015 and have been casting ever since. Before 2020, I was taking it, kind of soft. I didn't go too hard, and then 2020, I really decided to kind of pick it up. Started out with League, and then I kind of branched out from there. Currently, I've casted over 30 different titles: League of Legends, Valorant, CS2, some TCGs, as well as FPS and FGC as well, and then also some battle arenas and auto battler. Anything that comes across my table, I usually grab. For favorite game, I've said quite a few. I went old school, I went new. I guess I'll go with one of my more favorite console games, which I haven't talked about before, which probably the Thousand Year Door Paper Mario. I used to play that for ages. It's a really like I love stories, and the fact that it was a little Mario game and the storylines were cute and it just felt very very nice and compact, made me very happy.
Aw. Okay, so now that we have the intros kind of out of the way and set aside, so we'll start off with a general question, and then you guys can answer this in like any order you want. So how did you get into casting? And then kind of what drew you to stay and improve?
All right. I mean, I feel like as the most recent person to join this table, I'll take the lead. So what really got me into casting was actually how do I put this? It wasn't my first choice. When I
Damn.
no, okay. So when I hit, university and I can't got in, I was like 18 years old. I wanted to do esports. I wanted to play competitive Overwatch and I wanted to grind. So playing myself and trying to improve and getting to GM, getting to the top 500 level, yeah, I was able to do it, but then you just look at the amount of time it takes, especially to like maintain it and where the scenes are at and how volatile the esports scene is. It kind of didn't really make sense for me to pursue it, especially with school being how it is. So as my game time started to fall off a lot, what I ended up focusing on was casting and talking about the games and sharing my expression and putting on a show. Really, that's what I love so much about casting and what's really like drawn me to keep going. And big shout out to UFT Esports. I'm not a UFT student, but they took me in, and well, I've been doing shows with them for the past half a year now. So it's been great. It's been awesome.
Nice. Should I go next? Or do you want to go,
Sure.
Uncle? You sure?
I mean, let's just keep the order going.
Okay. So for me on my end, so sorry. For how I got into esports was really funny. It was actually just like basically all by chance. All the cards kind of came together. I didn't go into university ever like wanting to do esports or anything like that. In fact, I never really gamed at all. Like not even like in the past, maybe a little bit of Pokemon, maybe some like Mario Kart, but I never gamed at all until I got into university. When I got into like year one of university, that's when I actually started gaming. And so last year the opportunity just kind of came. One of my friends was actually on the production team as an observer for the University of Toronto esports Valorant production team. Shouts to them. Her name is like Serena Aishi. Love you. Hope you're having fun in Shanghai. But yeah, and I was just like kind of supporting the stream, watching, and then it looked like the stream was like kind of, if I'm being like honest, a little bit how to say it kind of seemed like it was just kind of slowly getting there, and I was like kind of interested, like, oh, I would love to try casting. I always like heard of like I always like watched the pro games, thought it was really fun. I was like, oh, maybe I can try my hand at it, I think I'll like have fun with it as like a hobby, right? And so I got into it, and then slowly but surely I like just kind of fell in love with casting, and it was just really really fun. Whether that was like casting with like Zackary, like we've casted a couple times with Overwatch or Valorant, or it was just like me solo casting, just basically yapping the entire time. Every moment of it was super fun, regardless of whether it was like a very tiring situation. It was like 6-hour streams or whatever. But yeah, it was just really nice and really fun. And yeah, and here I am today. Very lucky about the opportunities that were given to me, and definitely have spent the last couple months kind of more dedicating myself to the craft and learning more about how I can improve.
Oh, Orbital, I think you might be muted. Or your mic's
I forgot. I was
unplugged.
typing a lot. I was typing a lot.
Professional
I didn't want
casters
anyone
right
to hear.
here.
I was taking care of
Yep.
this stuff. I started out casting. Well, I originally started out. I told the story before. I started out trying to be a player. I made teams and everything, and basically, I fell flat on my face for my first ever tournament, and I had like 2 extra days left. And essentially, the tournament organizers at that time, this was at a LAN, basically said, "Hey, our casters right now are not doing that hot. If you want to hop on, we'll absolutely let you." And long story short, I said I can't play for Jack, and I'll go ahead and go a different route. And about 2018, 2019 rolled around, and I said, hey, I'm not enjoying a whole lot of other stuff, so I might as well put in a lot of time towards this and just kind of, and maybe it was more out of necessity than anything else. There was also I ran into some people that did critiqued me a little bit too hard, and I wanted to prove them wrong. So I basically just went at
Yeah.
it head on, and it was more just a out of spite thing. Still kind of is, but that's one driving force. And then after that, I want to keep getting better. I want to be known as that guy that can cast anything and everything.
Man's on
Yeah,
his revenge
spite
arc.
is a powerful motivator. I've definitely done a thing or two out of spite. Well, like, sorry, encourage me to improve out of spite. I didn't do anything out of spite. Yeah, it's an important distinction.
Damn, you guys
Very,
are on your
very good
revenge arc.
distinction.
Yeah, you guys are on your revenge arc. I don't know about that.
I
Dang.
It's growth.
Huh?
it
Every
is growth.
every
Growth is
every
growth.
anime, you need your little like training montage. Something
my
has to
Exactly.
God.
happen, and
Yeah.
that's
Oh my
this.
god. Stop it. Now it's gonna become
Mhm.
like isekai trope. Next thing you know, they're gonna be another world.
Yeah. Also, professional tip to all of you guys who are watching. If you're ever like watching a stream or a broadcast where people have their webcams on and like it's a multi a person's setup, try watching the person that isn't talking. I swear it's hilarious. It cracks me up every single time. I just yeah. Sorry, just an aside.
Oh, I like start consciously staring at everyone else now.
Oh, please stop.
Thank you for
Yeah.
that.
No, I don't like.
Don't do it. Don't do it. Don't do it.
No, please. I had
Yep.
to like make sure I look presentable. Then I was like, oh.
You're fine.
Mm,
Okay. So we'll get into a little bit of the basics for anyone who doesn't know, even though this is casting 103, not 101 anymore. So what
Mhm.
is the difference between play-by-play casting and color casting, and which do each of you prefer and why?
All right. I guess I'll kick it off then. So the difference between play-by-play and color. So play-by-play is going to be sort of narrating events as they occur on the screen. It's helping the viewers sort of comprehend what is happening, because esports, it's just so many flashing lights and colors and abilities and actions and everything that happens all at once. So you can sort of narrating that and making sure that the viewers really pick up on those key attributes that are happening during the fight. And as a play-by-play, you're also sort of, setting the mood, setting the tempo. Is this a massive fight, or is this something that's a little bit more typical, right? And through the differences in how you speak, how fast you go, how slow you go, how loud you can get, all those minor variations, they all contribute to, being being the hype man, basically, because that's what you are as the play-by-play. And then, I mean, Daniel, how about you take over? What is color?
Is he muted again?
I think you're muted.
Dang it! Dang it! You tossed it too quickly. I'm doing this all the time. I'm actually gonna do it every time. It's very fun.
Oh my god.
So it is. I would agree that play-by-play has a majority share in how it kind of sets. I equate it a lot of the time to how you paint a picture. If it were two people painting a picture, the play-by-play is the one that does the outline, does pretty much all the groundwork. That can, you see a tree or anything like that. You see the base, you see the outline of a tree, you see the branches, and then the color will fill in everything. A lot of the time, they'll start, bringing in the leaves. What color are the leaves? What color is the sky, and everything like that. Or they'll say what you don't see sometimes, which is like the roots of the tree or anything like that. Color brings life and depth to whatever is going on, whether it's seen or unseen. And it's their job to decide what the audience can hear from that. Usually, play by play talks about what the audience can already see or what they already know. And the color either wants to put that into a focus or bring to light new information that the audience might not know. So it's a very team effort style of play there.
Mhm.
And I kind of
And
like just to add on to that. Oh, sorry. Do you want to say something?
No, you go ahead.
Oh yeah. So like for in terms of like for color as well, other than just kind of painting that picture, like adding kind of more depth to it. In general, I would say one of like the biggest distinctions between the two, if you are not solo casting and you are working with someone else, the color caster usually also has a lot more, I would say, input in terms of, oh, maybe some strategies that will come in, or they will sometimes bring in past games or past series that those teams within competitive play have also kind of done before, but it's kind of allowing more kind of thought being put into not just the gameplay that you see currently, but it's kind of the things that, as like Daniel has said, that you don't really notice, or maybe that the audience tends to miss, and that can bring a
Mhm.
lot of excitement into the game as well, because you can kind of think about it from a different perspective as well.
Yeah, and then all right, which one do you prefer then? Color, play-by-play, or both?
For me, okay, so if I'm being
Mhm.
quite honest, like in terms of my experience as a caster, I'll be one of the first ones to say I consider myself an amateur. I do have a long way to go. Not to like discredit any of these things that I've done so far, but majority of my casting experience has been actually solo casting. So a
Mhm.
lot of the times I'm kind of monologuing to myself. But when I'm working with someone else, like it kind of depends on the person. Sometimes if I am working with someone that I know like the synergy is really there and I'm kind of used to their energy, and then maybe I would prefer more of a color kind of perspective, especially when it comes to like a game like Val, where I have a lot more game knowledge and I feel like I can provide a a more colorful picture per se, other than just doing the play-by-play. However, if it's with someone that I'm not as experienced with, and or it's with like a game that I'm not super comfortable with, then I would usually go for the play-by-play angle. So for me, it really depends on my co-caster as well as the game. And yeah, what about for you guys?
I'll sit with Spaffles and see what he says first. This is gonna be fun.
All right, sure. I guess it's getting tossed back at me. So I mean, historically, I've been, getting more into the groove in, learning where things are and like how to bounce off of my co-caster, to being color and taking my time and coming up with these, forms of analysis and coming up with these metaphors. It was really fun, and that was really what I enjoyed. But especially recently, I feel like I've really come into my own as sort of a play-by-play, and sort of seeing that side of things more and being the hype man and getting to yell and get loud and get excited and share that with the people. Like that is really what's drawn me further over to the play-by-play side of things, and potentially what I'm going to try doing more moving forward.
Yeah, I it looks like we're all play-by-plays here, which is kind of funny. I started out as play-by-play, kind of stuck with
Mhm.
it. I flexed between. But preferably, I've always enjoyed play-by-play. Being able to kind of drive narratives and all that stuff is always really fun.
Mhm.
I would say play-by-play is also the best in terms of trying to mesh with the caster. Since you lead the conversation a lot of the time, it does allow a lot of flexibility in that. You get to read your audience, and you can field questions that are much more manageable, depending
Mhm.
on the situation. If you are working with someone that's a little bit more soft-spoken or wants to focus more on analytics, you can drive questions there. If they're a lot more free-form, the play-by-play tends to be the opener and closer, so it's a little bit easier to, field jokes and set the tone in that
Yeah.
way. So there's a lot of different pieces to it.
Very nice.
I actually didn't know that all of you were preferably play-by-play casters.
Mm.
Um, Speaking of play-by-play, you touched on this a
Mhm.
little bit, Daniel, but I guess to Zlion and Zach, how do you guys make your play-by-play, make sure that it's engaging and that it's like the audience is really interested in what you're doing and what you're saying, rather than kind of uh, tuning you out or just like, how do you make sure that like the audience is engaged?
All right. Well, Zlion, you're the more engaging one, so I'll let you take the lead.
Well, for me, when it comes to
Mhm.
play-by-play, a lot of it is like tone and energy. Like I really feel that when you're casting, the energy that you give off is the energy that kind of sets the mood and creates an atmosphere for not just like the co-caster or for the game in general, but also for the viewers who are watching, right? So how I ensure that my play-by-play casting, other than like specific techniques or like like things to look at, for example, and for Valorant, like specifically, like you want to take a look at like the mini map a lot in terms of positioning. We want to take a look at the kill feed or like util. But other than like those kind of specifics, like as like a general rule of thumb for myself, I always try to keep my energy like 100%. Because if I give my 120% or my 100%, I know the viewers can feel that excitement. So like just getting excited, getting really into the game, and feeling that passion for that game like can really kind of bounce off of the viewers, and they can really kind of feel that. And definitely for play-by-play casting, I do like scream a lot. I just get really hyped during like an ace moment or a clutch where I'm just like, oh my god, that was crazy. Like basically I treat it as if like I'm watching a crazy game but with a friend. So that's how
Mhm.
I'm just like, oh my god, like this energy is like crazy. And at the end of the day, that kind of creates a really fun atmosphere and really entertaining like kind of VOD or game to watch. And sometimes like some really funny jokes will slip out in the end during that kind of hype moment, which
Mhm.
will like add to that experience.
Yeah, I mean, just like you said, the excitement is contagious, really, and being able to transmit that, like, people can really easily tell when you're excited and when you're really into the thing that you're talking about. So that is just a really core component of being a play-by-play. And also, what I personally like find that really helps is the sort of the way that your tone ebbs and flows as a team fight occurs or as things happen that you're going to be casting. Like, for example, in Overwatch, as a team fight begins, things are starting to speed up. You talk a little bit faster. Starts off as a low rumble, and then it shoots up for some action. Big ultimates happen, all the big plays, and then it starts to just fall again. So it's not always going to be your 101, 102%, but you are going to be giving that a little bit of variance. So like you're bringing the audience along for a ride and making sure that those massive moments are highlighted while also still covering everything. I mean, that is probably my secret sauce to how I consider going about play by play.
Mm-hmm. And Mr. More experience, Uncle, what is your
No,
thought?
I think you guys got it right on the head. I don't think too much else needs to be said, depending on
Yes.
what we're focused on
Just
there. I mean,
Mm-hmm.
I see it's fine. Honestly, it's the basics are there for sure, and that's honestly the foundation and groundwork for it. There's more, but it would take a lot more time to really dive into what you want to say is like the advanced sections and all. If we're talking about the general play-by-play vibe, though, it's 100% correct. Tone setting, making sure to emphasize the right points, I think, is a big part of being a play-by-play. You know, we are the ones that the audience kind of bounces off of to kind of figure out more about it. So,
Yeah, very cool.
Those are all very good tips. Actually, we have a question from someone in my DMs. So they say, I want to cast, but I am terrible at the game. Bronze or silver, by the way.
Uh-huh.
I'm not sure what game they're talking about, um, and they're also, and I'm also nervous about the live aspects and scared to mess up. What do I do?
Mm.
All right.
Ooh.
Okay,
Wants to
here
take the lead on this.
I'll take the lead a little bit here.
Go for it.
So when it comes to actually doing the thing, I'm gonna be real, and I don't mean it in a bad way, but nobody cares. You're going to make mistakes. Things are going to happen, but that is just sort of the nature of doing these live things. I've slipped up many times. I've slipped up many times in this show itself. But as long as you're able to keep it going and keep moving forwards, and you avoid, bringing everything to a halt, I think that you'll grow into it more as the more you do it. And then as for the other part of the question, when it comes to your rank in the game, it really doesn't matter. As long as you are passionate about the thing, as long as you have that desire to learn, you don't need those mechanical skills. All you need is just that strong knowledge foundation, and then after that you can hit the ground running with casting.
And I definitely second that notion. Like in my opinion, and when it comes to casting, honestly, like the live portion of it, I understand is can be very, very nerve-wracking, especially if you have kind of anxiety related to like kind of public speaking, right? And that's totally okay. I think for me, where whenever I get anxious in this situation, I kind of fake it till I make it. I fake confidence until I actually feel confident, because then that kind of, you got to get into that mindset slowly, and then as you kind of get into the groove and you get used to that live aspect, you'll get a lot better. And of course, it's like what spafflez was saying, like it takes time for these things to like develop, like it takes time to get used to certain things. So like that's totally okay, take your time with it. It's not like you come in like to casting and you will excel at it right away. Like all of us have things that we still continuously have to work on, even despite having casted for like a little bit of time or a lot of time, right? And in terms of rank in the game, like honestly, yeah, I agree. The mechanics really, it doesn't matter. You can have the worst aim in the world, and that can like translate to like actually you have an amazing map knowledge or game knowledge, but your aim is like absolutely like no low, like really, really bad. So you're not able to rank up, right? I think the best advice I can give to you if you're concerned about that, you want to do casting, but you're not super sure about like, oh, I'm so bad at this game, I don't know if I'm like suitable for it. Look at what professional casters kind of focus on in their kind of casting for like LCQ or for VCT. You kind of take a look at, okay, they will know about eco, they'll know about these like very like kind of terms. You'll start seeing strategies coming out or get commentated by these casters from these pro teams, and once you kind of catch on to that pattern and see that, okay, these are the things that casters who do it semi-professionally or professionally professionally focus on, that's stuff that you can also work out as well. And as you like kind of build that base of knowledge, you'll become more confident and more kind of excited to share about, oh, this is the stuff that I know, and these are things that I noticed, because you start seeing those in the games that you cast, right? And that doesn't necessarily mean that you might be very good at the game yourself in terms of playing, but it will still be very beneficial for you if you want to get into casting.
Yeah, I would. This is where it's always interesting because there's always a talk about rank and everything. And although
Mhm.
a lot of us here are sitting there saying, yeah, rank doesn't matter, there is merit behind it. So even though we're saying rank doesn't matter, I don't want to disclude that. Reason being is currently with, I believe, LCS and such, if you're trying to get onto a T1 broadcast or a pro broadcast, they do have rank stipulations. I believe for play-by-play, you have to be at least, I want to say it's a I want to say it's Emerald Diamond right now, and then if you're going to be
Mhm.
a color caster, you need to at least be Diamond.
Oh, I didn't know
Uh,
that actually.
there are stipulations. There are small stipulations now. Of course, some of them I'm sure are like grandfathered in and stuff like that. But
Mhm.
the reason for that, because I believe the first question was, I don't have confidence and everything like that. The other is how do you actually get into it? And yes, you can just dive into it. I don't see a problem with that. But if you're looking for hard, concrete steps, the first reason is to understand why rank matters a lot of the time. That's actually the baseline is you do need to gain information. And how do you learn about the game? And quite honestly, in the past, it used to be just play the game a lot, and you gain that information. When Zlion was talking about it, it was a good bring up point, which was you learn about ecos, you learn about these different things, you learn about different strategies that are currently available. But what at least I found out is how you research, as long as it's comfortable to you, that is where you start first. You need to ingest this information. And for me, I cast multiple games. I have 30 different titles on my belt. I played like 3, and I play 1 at a pretty regular pace, which is a MOBA, which MOBA, in my opinion, has the most information out there. League of Legends is not the big one, by the way. I will give a shout out to Dota 2, which has by far the most static knowledge that you need to know just to be a caster. But for me, I study. I don't play a lot of these games. So what I do is I go watch VODs. Uh, I watch pro streamers. I research about the game. I go to the wikis. I go to in-depth information. I have documents used, and I have files for like all compositions. I have files on what's strong right now. I keep up on meta patches. If you're looking for step number 1 on what you need to do to get into casting, it's familiarize yourself with all of these in a way that feels natural coming out. Whether that be just pure research by watching VODs or just like going through a tutorial on what is Valorant or what is Overwatch 2. Um, the first step is just dip your feet in. It doesn't have to be playing, because quite honestly, I did not learn very well just by playing, because there's a lot of stuff I miss with how I play. With all of that, find a way to ingest the information comfortably, and that would be step 1, at least on the knowledge side, and how to bring that to the forefront.
Okay.
Very
So
cool.
I hope that answers your question, or the person who's DMing me their question. So we've talked a bit about this on some other panels, and how important mental health is in preparing yourself mentally, and we understand that production is a high stress, casting can be high stress. So how do each of you kind of prepare for a cast? Is there any physical prep, um, emotional prep, voice prep, kind of? What is your kind of secret sauce to get yourself ready?
Um, well, when it comes to the casting stage, it's all about, for me at least, it's about getting in that call and just having a chat with people, talking with your producer, talking with your co-caster, striking up conversation. Doesn't even necessarily have to be about the game itself, but I feel like just cutting through that dead air and just establishing a connection with the other people that are in the call with you, even if it's your first time together or your 10th time or 100th time casting together, it just helps a lot in sort of um just like stabilizing everything and finding your footing. And then as for or other stuff, I don't personally struggle with it, so I'm sure that you guys would be more qualified to speak on it.
On my end, in terms of like, I think it differs. I mean, Oh my god, defers. Deferring, of course. Sorry, I deferred tuition a little bit while ago. Anyways, so the
Oh,
for me, the difference between whether it is a broadcast that is going to be requiring you to have camera and whether it's just purely voice. So purely voice thing, I could literally show up with greasy hair and just do my thing, you know. Make sure I always have a cup of water next to me, and also for actually all casting live things, I always do research ahead of time. So if it's a game I'm not familiar with, number one, I always do research on, okay, what are some how is it being casted in the pro or semi-pro scene, and then how can I translate that into my casting for this upcoming broadcast, right? Or it can be on, like how Daniel said, like meta patches, any changes, what are, like, how does the game work in that sense, so I can familiar myself with like content that will come forward as we go through the broadcast. In terms of if it's live, kind of requires you to have camera. Today I'm not wearing any makeup, you know, but usually I'll kind of like do, like, you know, make myself like a little bit more put together, you know, take a shower, wash my hair if I need to, put like makeup on to look like presentable. But because I feel like in a sense, like it's almost like it's kind of cheesy to say this, but like some when I have like makeup on or when I like feel very put together, I feel more confidence, almost like battle armor, where I'm just like, I'm ready to go into it. I think Daniel, we talked about this like personally between us two about how even though like I don't think appearance isn't like talked a lot about, at a certain point, your appearance and how you portray yourself or how you carry yourself, um, like just looks wise and like you don't have to be like the most attractive person, but like being like well groomed in a certain way also provides like a sense of like professionalism. And I think maybe you can comment more on that on terms of like the semi pro scene. But like for me, that's how I see it.
It's more about just being in your comfort place. Now, granted, it's there are some that are at a higher level that yeah you will have specific wardrobe requirements. I know for some of the tier 1 leagues it's a varying between the size of the event, really. It's just one, realize that when you're on air you don't represent yourself, you are not a caster, you are not someone there, you represent the company. The best way I look at it every time I do is anytime I step on a stage that is not my own personal Twitch, I am not my own. My entire face, my personality, everything there represents the company that just hired me, whether it's paid or not paid. And that's how I view it. It's the same reason that a lot of us kind of sit there and sometimes it can be difficult. There's also a reason why we don't curse half the time. That's
Mhm.
why. But I do agree. Keeping yourself well groomed or anything like that. Another side is, for me, I try all of my wardrobe is essentially um, non-flashy, I guess is the best way to put it. A lot of it is very neutral colors, and that might be considered boring by a lot of people. You don't stand out, but for me, that's not my goal. My goal is not to attract attention to myself, it's to the casting, it's to the event. So there's that. Keep yourself well groomed. That's fair. For pre-show though, one of the big things is to keep your voice fresh. I know we mentioned water and everything. However, there are vocal exercises. One of the big things I do like to mention is go look up pre-routines for news anchors, singers, opera singers, and those three will actually have a lot of good warm ups. One is tongue twisters for me, it allows me to keep speech going pretty quickly. Um, Two is vocal exercises. So, a lot of singers and opera singers will have a very strong vocal exercise that you can do beforehand, such as lyrical warm ups. And I actually tend to sing songs. I have a playlist on my own that I have that's just songs that have fast lyrics, strong lyrics, loud lyrics, and softer lyrics, so I can get all tonals. Um, and then the fourth would actually be having a straight up conversation with my co-caster. I tend to cast with someone different every time, and I need to get their vibe. Not just their vibe, but their speech pattern, what they like to talk about, how fast they talk, how slow they talk, and their experience level. All of that will go into what I bring up on air, and how I present that information, whether it be in a joking manner, a more professional manner, I guess is the best way to put it, much more stock standard. All these things I try and glean alongside what Zlion was mentioning is, standard information about the game, any information about the teams, and upfront there. However, a huge thing that I think tends to be neglected is post broadcast care. Uh, just as there's pre pre-care, there's post-care a lot of the time, which is treating your voice after a broadcast because more often than not, it's an hour to 3 hours depending on the game. You need to take care of your voice afterwards. You don't want to go to bed just straight up nothing on the voice. For me, it's a warm saltwater gargle for about 5 minutes, plus a cup of hot tea with honey, and then water afterwards. It's not perfect, but it does help alleviate some of the strain that you put on your voice, especially if you're looking to get much more into day-to-day casting, which is not always regular. But if you know that you have an event that's 4 days in a row of 5-hour days, you are going to run yourself ragged by day 2 if you don't take care in the post of a broadcast.
Mhm.
Is
I think
Rap
that's all
God
super important.
is Rap God on your playlist? Eminem, fast, loud.
So Rap God used to, however, that does not feel
Ooh!
natural.
Ah,
There is, I think is it ABC? I
Kendrick
think.
Lamar's new diss track. Chris
Oh
No,
Brown's
that
no!
one,
song.
Oh
no, 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 no,
no!
no. So I think it's let me see if this is what it is.
He's pulling
I
out the
don't remember.
playlist, guys.
Someone's gonna
Drop it
yell at
in
me for this one.
Twitch.
No, it's I think it's Blackalicious is what it's called.
What?
Or Alphabet Aerobics. I don't remember. Yeah, Blackalicious, that one is. Because it goes through every letter of the alphabet with different rhymes in there as well. So not only do I speak fast, but it gets me used to using every letter, and it doesn't feel foreign rolling off my tongue, considering how many different verbiages are used in and can come up at random times if I think about it.
I just imagine like he search up every like pre broadcast lyrics to Blackalicious and just reads off of it like it's a script. It's like like before you eat, you pray. That's like how I imagine it. There's like candles everywhere. There's lilac
No,
scented
no, no, no.
candles.
At that point, that at that point might be like a summoning seance or something. I don't want to do that. That sounds bad.
You're summoning a good broadcast. Is what you're summoning. I
Maybe,
mean,
maybe.
I mean.
uh, okay. I am just staring at the highlighted question in her sheet, and
Oh, that's fine.
I hate whoever put that in there.
What?
Uh-oh.
I wonder who that could be.
Let's see it.
I'm not saying.
We're not using that one? Dang. Okay, okay.
No.
If you want to
I
ask it, you can ask it.
No, no, no.
all
I'm good.
right.
I
No.
don't have it up. I like to be surprised. So if you want to lay it
All right,
on me,
you know what?
I'll
No,
make a
no.
Okay.
decision for it.
Here, I'll lay it on you guys. All right.
Okay, okay.
Oh
All
my
right.
god. I'm
So,
scared.
how do you keep up your skibbity riz when G-Man creases your J's?
What?
Wait, was that actually
What?
Sorry, I can repeat it.
Sorry.
I can repeat it. How do you keep up your skibbity riz when G-Man creases your J's?
Creases your J's.
Yeah.
Oh. So what you can do, very good a tip for you guys. So there's an iron, right? However, you want to make sure you put a cloth on top of your shoes first, and then you
Mhm.
iron the crease out. And if
I
you
feel
really
there's a
need
specific
to,
answer that I don't know.
and if you
I feel like
really
this
need
is
to, and there are
I don't know.
stains, hydrogen peroxide with a little bit of baking soda does wonders for sneaker stains.
I like how this is like an actual. You have an actual answer for it.
Hey, listen,
Look.
I customize some sneakers sometimes. So what can I say? That bring that extra expertise in here. So
Let's
I'm not gonna
go.
lie. I just threw up Zoomer lingo onto the page and wanted to see what would happen.
But that was
Anyway,
you?
that of course it wasn't. You think it was me?
Yes.
What? What?
Yes.
Sorry, guys. Headphone warning. I'm sorry. I apologize for yelling, but headphone warning. But what?
Okay.
There you go.
We have time for a couple more questions before we get into our ranked all.
All
Mm.
right.
So I always like this one. Is there a caster you look up to that you maybe not want to embody, but you see elements that you're like, ooh, I want to try to incorporate this in my next broadcast or something
Orbital.
like that.
Me? Why me to start? Okay, let's do this. So, as I said, I started in League of Legends. That was to me the most popular at the time, and so that's the one that I watched first. At the time, there was a. I always like to tell this story because it's also kind of funny. When I first started out, there was a caster named Rivington. He is still in the scene now. He's a Valorant caster now. But when he started, he was one of the OG League of Legends casters. And he used to be pretty much top of the charts for LCS. He was there pretty much every weekend, obviously, like one of the few up there. Very, very fun guy. And the whole reason I looked up to it was his way of words flowed very naturally. And that's, if you can't tell, that's what I put a lot of emphasis on, is naturality, kind of flow, make sure it doesn't, skip or anything like that. I equate it to a running river. It doesn't matter what's thrown in your way, your language doesn't really stop. It moves very evenly, even if there are some surprises. It doesn't feel choppy and it doesn't feel stuttery. And Rivington pretty much embodied that. So when I first started casting, that's what I did. However, the more I cast, the more I realized I was more of a freak. And Freak is just excessively fast when he used to be a play-by-play caster. Just word garble out there. It was, I like to call it the Captain Flowers before Captain Flowers a lot of the time. It was very heavy-handed in speed. And so I gravitated more to that. So Rivington mostly, but I learned that I gravitated more towards Freak style at the end of it.
Yeah,
Okay,
I mean,
okay.
just touching on, the topic league casters. I mean, Captain Flowers was definitely an inspiration for myself. I absolutely love not only his casting, but also like the personality, the amount of character that man oozes is just fantastic to watch. And then also for a bit of a throwback, the first caster duo that I really fell in love with was Intero and Kix, rest in peace Kix, on Rainbow Six Siege. So back in the day, they were the main caster duo. They basically did all of the international events, every single thing. And the way that they bounced off each other and they had that duo dynamic, they had everything perfectly in sync. Like it didn't matter if one of them was color and one of them was play by play. The way that they picked up for each other and the way that they bounced off each other was just mesmerizing to watch. And that's like one of my key things that I strive to get to eventually in my casting.
For me, you guys had some nice response. I'm not gonna. For me, I'm gonna be quite honest with you. It's a really troll response. So
Mhm.
the very troll one is, I'm gonna be honest. When I'm watching casting, it's like it's there. I never really pay attention to names because I got into casting more as a hobby, and it was just like
Mhm.
oh, this is really fun. Let me look into it. As I started doing more research and I got more familiar with people who are like actually like staple names within the industry, whether that's like in Overwatch, whether that's in League, whether that's in Valorant, like it kind of goes either or. However, my favorite caster that I've talked about this before actually with Daniel as well. Cloud Templar from Asubu Frost. The Korean casters are so freaking funny. They are absolutely
Yeah.
hilarious. Just because like they honestly embody like my style of casting, which is very chaotic. I'm gonna be very honest. The
Mhm.
way I cast can come up very chaotic and just like it's just very fun and exciting. Even if they're not giving like the most, I guess, like in-depth analysis of like what's coming up, like the strategies, the things that I gravitate more towards for like a broadcast or for casters is if they're funny, they're charismatic, they keep the game really fun and engaging to watch. And I definitely think Cloud Templar, he used to be a pro player for Super Frost, was just one of those people that definitely embodied like how I approach casting with that kind of fun energy. And if you guys seen any of the clips, it's super funny. And like on like a more serious note, like if am being honest, like as much as I call like Orbital like old and everything, I do actually like think he is one of the casters that I quote unquote look up to. And I'm gonna do a little bit glazing so you can like deafen yourself if you like, so you don't have to hear this. But basically, I like all the other casters I've worked with before have also been like within the collegiate scene. We've all kind of like all been kind of new into this, not super uh I would say not super like used to casting. We're all kind of trying to find our footing. So it's a lot of like kind of like help each other out, right? But I think Daniel was like the first person that has had so much experience with casting that I've actually had like a one-on-one conversation with regards to like, oh, how can I improve on my casting? We actually casted yesterday for Valorant, and like after in between the castings, like in between the games, I would ask him like, hey, what did you think about the casting? What are some things that I can work on? Like, and not gonna lie, sometimes he's like he'll be mean, but like it's like mean in a nice way is what I'm trying to say. It's not like, oh, mean to like put you down. It's like mean because I want you to improve. It's like that energy, and I really do appreciate that because like the advice that Orbital actually gives me is very helpful to me, and it's like a line of communication I feel like has in my mind is like very reliable if I really want like concrete advice, as well as someone who is not just looking at it from like a, oh, you're my friend, or you're really chill, but like a, oh, you actually want to improve, these are the things that you should like kind of look on. And of course I don't take like his advice as like, oh my god, God's gift to man. It's more just like, of course it's situational, right? I don't worry, I'm not scared to like tell him like, you're wrong, but like at the same time, it's still advice that I will take in consideration, and I definitely like take to heart. And I always try to, like improve upon that like slowly but surely. So yeah. Done with glazing, you can undeafen yourself now if you're undeafening.
Don't worry. Your $20 will be in the mail. That's a perfect clip for any of my other reels. It's great. This is awesome. You did
My
exactly what I needed
god.
you to.
Oh my god, thank you so much. I really need that, McDonald's money. What can I say? Yeah, the
You gotta
Junior
get
Chicken's
the
waiting for me.
you gotta get the Happy Meal. Get the
Yeah, the Junior.
collab.
Oh, the Happy Meal with the Yu-Gi-Oh! X the Sanrio. That was the
Yeah.
weirdest collab I've ever seen in my life.
It,
But
it's so
it's
cute
so
though.
fire. It's fire, but at the same time, why?
Sunreal's popped off with their collabs. Like they've had like 3 or 4 on the last
Yeah,
one.
no, but like Sanrio, like the like Cinnarol as like Blue Eyes White Dragon. It's like what? Like what is
It's
going
so
on?
cute.
And we're getting
Okay.
off topic. Going back.
We can talk about McDonald's later.
Yeah, oh, 100%, girl.
Um,
Junior Chicken.
Can I
okay.
say one more thing before we go to Rinkle?
Yes.
Uh, the the person that asked earlier about how to get in casting and everything like that. This is something that I don't think many people in the esports industry did before. But if you are in the esports industry, you're looking in or you're wanting to get into it, don't be afraid to challenge others. That is something that actually I think isn't said enough about, whether it be in production, whether it be in casting world, especially in the casting world. We are very friend heavy. We all love to say we're friends and everything like that. That's great. You don't grow if you don't have challenges a lot of the time. The reason that Zlion mentioned it, I'm pretty harsh when it comes to criticism, and I always ask beforehand. If you want criticism, fine. Just realize I'm not always the nicest person. You need someone to tell you to your face that things are wrong, and half the time that's the person that's been sitting across from you for about 2 hours. They are the ones that are going to feel the best about, hey, I know this stuff does not feel good. I'm sure you feel it too, but yeah, don't be afraid. And if that kind of pisses the other person off, like if you are someone that wants to actively get better at casting, if you are someone that is doing this for fun, that's cool as well. I have no problem with that. But considering we had a question earlier saying, how do I get into casting and everything like that? Do not be afraid to challenge questions and then to also challenge the answers that are given. If someone says you did this wrong, one, yeah, maybe it was rough, maybe this, I didn't mean, but ask why. And sometimes don't be afraid to be like, well, I did it this way for this reason. If the other person is not willing to open up a discussion to you, that's on them. But don't be afraid to challenge and be challenged in that regard. And that is the only way you will grow the fastest, I think, in this industry.
I think that's
Mhm.
like just not even applicable to just casting. I think it's also like for every other profession too, like making sure that if you want to learn, clear line of communication, right? And in terms of, I think that's definitely applicable in terms of like challenging too for like semi-pro pro scene. In terms of like if you're a student and you're coming into like collegiate esports and you're like, oh, how can I get involved in production teams? How can I like get into casting? How can like what's going on? I'm gonna be honest with you, 90% of the time, collegiate esports, our production teams, we need people. We're desperate. Like the more people that we have, the better. So anytime you come into like a collegiate esports team or like a Discord, always reach out, always ask if there's new opportunities arising. Hey, like I'm looking to get into casting or I'm looking to production. Would I be able to come online? Could you give me like a little like breather or like a refresher, like show me how it's done? Majority of the time, I feel like because it's so volunteer based, no one's really getting paid for this. We're all willing to help each other because the more people that know how to do certain roles or do things, the less strain it puts on the individual person or the individual organization, right? So, like, of course, if you just don't know where to start and you are kind of in high school or you're in even for students in high school, like collegiate esports like teams or organizations will be more than willing to have your help if you are willing to learn, you're willing to communicate with us. In fact, one of our tournament organizers, I believe Senta, is in high school right now. Shouts to Senta, love you. But yeah, so in terms of if you're coming to university too, like just reach out, ask, like just don't be scared to ask, don't be scared to just look for those opportunities openly. And if that person like that you directly contacted doesn't have like an immediate answer for you, they most likely have contacts that can help you. And I would say majority of the time in my personal experience, like everyone's helping each other out, right? So like don't be scared to ask, don't be scared to ask for help, don't be scared to ask for opportunities or just to learn things, right? And most of the time you never know, like it will happen. But yeah, if you don't, you miss 100% of the shots you don't take, and that's super true. So
Okay.
Um,
Yes.
yeah.
That is all really, really good advice. I hope anyone who is listening is encouraged to just reach out. Like we're friendly. We don't typically bite.
What does also mean
Um,
typically by? Did you bite someone? Jennifer, you have something to tell us?
I
A
might
little
have.
dirty secret?
We can talk
Oh
about that off
God.
stream.
Oh.
As long as it's consensual.
Okay.
What? Wait, hold up. No. Anyways, Rankle.
Okay. And we
Rankle.
keep this in this way. Rankle. Okay, so anyone who doesn't know, Rankle will be seeing a couple clips, and then our casters will be ranking them, whether they are anywhere from Iron all the way to Radiant for Valorant. So we'll start with Valorant. If we have time, we'll also go to Rocket League. But without further ado, we will get into the clip.
All right.
Okay, so here's the first one.
Imposter. Prepare to look at my forehead. Hold up. Let me get like really close to the camera.
It's got a really nice response.
Oh, dear.
Wait, where's the?
You got this. You got this. Nice. Good job. Good job. Good job.
Okay. Would
Okay.
you like
Okay, let's see
that
it again. Let's see it
one
again.
more time?
Yeah.
Zilin, it's my Discord stream if you're
Lego.
watching. Oh my god. Sorry, I just wasn't sure.
Okay.
Okay, I saw the second kill.
Okay,
straight ping.
You got this. You got this.
1v1.
Yeah, that's pretty good.
Nice.
Okay.
Ooh. And you even got oh man, there were some stats coming up at the bottom too.
Oh, did you want to see the stats?
Is that an extra overlay?
Wait,
No,
can
that's,
you
that
play
was an
like the
external
first 3
overlay.
seconds?
Yeah, that was external.
Okay, so
Okay,
external
we'll play one
Go
more
overlay-
back to
time.
like 12 or 13 seconds. I saw an external pop up.
Okay,
on
so
the
external
scoreboard.
overlay. The map
Okay.
is a quarter of their screen.
You got this.
They have a
you
dot
got
crosshair. and-
Nice.
Yeah, where is it? Right there. That's
Oh.
oh
And
no,
they have a
they are
skin.
absolutely
They have
tryharding.
skins.
Okay,
I'm gonna give this.
this. Good job.
Well, I'm
Oh,
gonna
I
throw out
cannot get that scoreboard.
a rank. I'll
No,
give
no,
this
no.
flat.
Hold on. Let's hear. I want to hear the one that plays Valorant a lot, just
What?
to see how bad this goes. I want to hear
okay.
what your thoughts are first.
First of all, wait, I'm hearing myself. Anyways, clean shots for the clip person. Love that for you.